Thank you for watching this podcast on our study in the book of 1 Corinthians. Today we're in 1 Corinthians, the 10th chapter, verse number 25. Let me just ask you to do this. Go back and listen to yesterday's podcast. Go back and listen to last week's podcast, because it's all, we need to take it all in context. And I simply don't have the time to make a whole complete study in one podcast. So go back and listen to all of them, and you'll get a better understanding of what the Apostle Paul was confronting in the church at Corinth. The Apostle Paul is confronted immorality, but the Apostle Paul now is confronting division in the church. And it was division over things, whether you should eat meat sacrificed to idols or not. And so he says here in verse number 25, he says, eat anything that is sold in the market without asking questions for your conscience sake. In other words, when you walk up to the butcher, you don't say to the butcher, now was this meat offered to an idol? You see, in Paul's day and in the time there in the city of Corinth, there were places, markets that you could go to, and some of the meat was offered to idols and then sold for a profit in the marketplace. And there were some people in the church that says, oh no, I never eat meat sold to the idols, given to the idols and then sold. I never eat that stuff. And then there was other people that are saying, oh, why not? And so the Apostle Paul says, and he makes this statement at the end of verse number 25, without asking questions for conscience sake. And we talked about that before. If it bothers your conscience, don't eat it. If it bothers your conscience to eat meat that's been offered as a sacrifice to idols, then don't eat it. But the Apostle Paul is now giving us this wisdom. Just don't ask whether it's been sacrificed or not, whether it's been given to an idol or not. Just don't ask, and do it for your own conscience sake. And then he goes on and he makes this statement, verse number 26, for the earth is the Lord's and all it contains. What is the Apostle Paul doing? He's telling us that the earth and everything that is in the earth belongs to the Lord. He is making a statement here that we need to understand that everything that we see, whether it's in the marketplace or not in the marketplace, it all belongs to the Lord. So, when you go to the market, don't ask this question, was it offered to idols or not? Don't ask that question just for the sake of your own conscience, because everything belongs to the Lord. And then verse number 27, if one of the unbelievers invites you and you want to go, eat anything that is set before you without asking questions for conscience sake. And there's that term again, for conscience sake. If you want to go and eat with unbelievers and they set something in front of you, don't ask whether this was offered as a sacrifice to idols or not. Don't do it for your conscience sake. You see, the Apostle Paul is worried about the conscience of these believers. You see, many times we set rules. We make rules, and we don't think about what's happening on the inside of a person. So for your conscience sake, when you eat dinner with an unbeliever, don't ask the question, And you know what? We could take this and we could relate this to many questions that are asked in the church just today. Do you drink alcohol? Do you watch movies? Do you do this? Do you do that? Do you do this? Now, I'm not saying that it's all right to sin. But you know what? We need to not major on the minor issues and cause division in the body of Christ. That's what Paul is talking about. Now let's go on to verse number 28. But if anyone says to you, this is meat sacrificed to idols, do not eat it, for the sake of the one who informed you and for conscience sake. Now, again, the context of this is you're eating with an unbeliever, and this unbeliever says, yeah, I was down at the temple of so-and-so today, and I picked up this prime rib for us to eat. What do? He says, you don't eat it. Why don't you eat it? You don't eat it for two reasons. One of them we've already talked about, your conscience sake. But the other reason is for the sake of your testimony. Let me say something to you, and you need to understand this. Unbelievers are watching you. And you know what? If you have no moral courage, they are not going to respect what you believe. Do you understand? If you won't stand up for anything, the saying goes, you'll fall for everything. But really what the Apostle Paul is saying here, you know what? When you're seated with an unbeliever, you need to stand up for what you believe. You need to make a stand for what you believe. Now, I believe that you need to do it in love. But you need to say, you know what, I'm sorry, but I'm going to pass on that prime rib, even though it looks delicious. You know, I'm sitting here, my mouth is watering all over the place. I'm not glad I'm not spitting on the camera. But you need to say to that unbeliever, you know what, I serve Jesus. So I'm not going to eat something that's been sacrificed to an idol. And again, the two reasons. You don't eat it for the sake of your conscience, but you also don't eat it for the sake of those who are unbelievers, the sake of your testimony. I notice my time is almost up for today. And let me just say these words to you. Your testimony is one of the most valuable things that you possess. You know what? If you had a diamond ring and this diamond ring was worth $5,000, you know what? You probably wouldn't be wearing it outside while you're working in the lawn. Why? Because of the value. Please understand, the value of your testimony is one of the most valuable things that you have. Keep your testimony clear in the eyes of unbelievers. Thank you for watching today. God bless you. Join us again tomorrow as we continue our study in 1 Corinthians.